I am not one to subscribe to conspiracies. I actually credit 9/11 for that. That's a whole different video. But basically, 9/11 made me realize that, yes, bad things can happen, but the reality isn't nearly as frightening as the fiction, as your imagination. So it kind of got me together. I mean, I could go into a lot more of that. It's a very simplistic explanation, but basically 9/11 made me realize that conspiracies are very interesting fiction, something to consider when living your life, but not something that should rule your life. And actually 9/11 has made me very calm in the face of Corona because, the conspiracies are out there. And, the conspiracies are sexy. They're interesting. They seem so crazy they might be true. And I think a lot of people seem to think that the crazier the conspiracy, the closer to truth is. When in reality, even though the saying is truth is stranger than fiction, a lot of the time truth is actually quite mundane. It's quite boring because the truth is molded by people, by human beings. So there aren't really supernatural forces, and there isn't a vast conspiracy that people sort of hope there is, because even if let's say you do believe in evil and the devil and stuff, the devil still has to work through people, and people are lazy, people are dumb, people are uncooperative, people are greedy, people want to do what they want to do, not necessarily what the mass conspiracy wants them to do, or what evil wants them to do, or whatever. So, that's kind of the saving grace about people. They're fucking awful, but they're so lazy and useless that, our greatest fears and, the worst that our imagination can dream up can't really come to pass because it has to be done by people, and people can't do shit. So yeah, I'm very calm in the face of conspiracies. They're interesting. They're fun to listen to and stuff, but normally, real life is just, it's just real life. It's kind of normal. It's kind of mundane. There's usually a logical explanation for a lot of things, and that's boring, but also that saves us from a lot of, horrific, terrible things, because real life isn't as bad as our imaginations the vast majority of the time. It's like that South Park episode about 9/11. I think that was the most logical explanation about 9/11, that, they just fucked up. There was no conspiracy, and man, they wished there was a conspiracy because it would make them look cooler. But really, they just fucked up, and that's about it. And, sorry, that's about all, that's all there was to it. So I was listening to a conspiracy, and Lord knows we've got a lot in the beef sector. And I hate to name names because I'm not targeting this person specifically, but they brought up a conspiracy, a belief of theirs that I think a lot of people share. So it was Ness No Mess, and she was talking about, and I just caught a few moments of her live. She was talking about how, basically how Babe Nation, works as a monolith. And so if, Phi Babe is cool with you, your chat is full of, Babe Nation, everybody loves you, your chat's huge, and everyone's laughing at your jokes and stuff, and everything's great. The moment that Phi Babe disagrees with you, that's it. It's over. And a lot of people believe that. And I wouldn't be shocked if there were very loyal Babe Nation people who did that. Excuse me. But the reality is not that interesting, to be honest. I know for me personally, if I'm watching somebody and I like somebody and they mention another content creator's name enough, they're shouting them out or whatever. Not every single person they shout out. If somebody says, hey, check out so-and-so's channel, I'm not necessarily running to that person's channel. In fact, most of the time I forget that they were even mentioned. If they're repeatedly mentioned, or somehow they say things in the chat that are interesting or funny or something, and then I remember, then I'll go and check them out, maybe subscribe to them. A lot of times I subscribe first and then kind of catch them and later on. And then if they're not interesting, then I unsubscribe, So it's not necessarily there's some, direction from Big Brother that I have to follow this person. It's just, it sort of works out that way. Maybe I'm looking for more people to follow because my, subscriptions are kind of bare one day. And then, okay, let's say the person I like and the person that they recommended have a falling out. Normally, I stick it out. I don't necessarily just unsubscribe right away. However, like, for example, in the case of Phi Babe, when people get mad at her or she gets mad at them, I mean, they get whipped up in such a frenzy that she's all they can talk about. So whenever you tune into them, maybe they were talking about one thing most of the time, and then the subject becomes Phi Babe constantly. And, they find all sorts of ways to bring her up when it's not even necessary. And you're just like, really? And I try to stick it out. I try to stick it out when someone is having some sort of beef with somebody, especially if it's someone I like. It's like, okay, there's still, there was a reason why I followed them or stayed following them. So I'm not going to unfollow them instantly. But if they turn into a broken record and all I'm hearing is this one subject or how they don't like this person that I like or whatever, if it goes on and on and on, that's when I unsubscribe. So I suspect I'm not the only person who operates that way. There wasn't, I didn't get a secret memo from, headquarters saying that, I'm going to subscribe to this person at this time and then unsubscribe when, the contract's up. It's not, if there are people getting a secret memo, it's certainly not me. And I suspect a lot of people aren't getting the memo. It's just, if you're interesting and I'm made aware of you and you stay interesting, I'm going to stay with you. If you get really uninteresting and just can't seem to let go whatever beef or situation you're going through and it derails your whole channel, yeah, you're going to get unsubscribed unless I just forgot or something. So yeah, it's really quite mundane. It's not as sexy as one would hope. So yeah,